Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, and I'm back with a new commentary. And today I have a special guest with me. I have stand-up comedian and actor Nick Helm. How you doing, Nick?
Hello, I'm good.
Now today we are discussing the 1981 horror classic Evil Dead.
Evil Dead.
So folks, if you wish to sync this commentary with your own copy of the film, put the timestamp to 0 and press play now. Now, Nick, when was the first time you kind of saw this? Because you're a bit older than me.
What a way to start the thing. How rude. I'm a guest. It's Evil Dead.
Was it part of the sort of, when you're young, everyone's sort of finding it on VHS,
No.
you weren't supposed to, or was it just later on down the
No,
line?
I got confused between all of the franchises. There was Evil Dead and Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead. And so I found...
There were too many deads.
Yeah, I just thought that they were all sort of connected. And then, so I wasn't aware of really Evil Dead until maybe 1992. So in England, we used to have, free magazines that came in the cinema that were like film magazines. And
Yeah.
I just remember that Medieval Dead, which became Army of Darkness, was advertised for like upcoming films of the year, and I hadn't really heard of it. And then later on, I watched Army of Darkness, and then I went back and watched Evil Dead 2, and I was too scared to watch Evil Dead because I heard it was banned.
I heard this. Yeah, I had the same sort of reaction as well.
And eventually, because I was never really into horror films, and then Army of Darkness was sort of like my gateway into horror films.
But for me, it was a very much similar process because we'd rented. I saw Evil Dead 2 first because my sister's partner, he had like this old VHS tape, big box rental tape of it.
Yeah.
Got this cool guy on the front cover, obviously Bruce Campbell with a chainsaw. I thought we saw Evil Dead 2 was amazing. And suddenly we went to the video shop and we saw this film called Army of Darkness, and it had a similar character on the front cover. So why is it not called Evil Dead 3?
Yeah.
And we watched it and thought, okay, now we know it's a sequel because how it opens.
Yeah.
But the first one, it was completely off my radar until it was. I think it was when the ban was lifted, or maybe the ban was already lifted, and I just sort of discovered it then.
I don't really understand about the video nasty ban, but
because it fell into that grouping because of its gore and violence, and I think.
Well, it was Mary Whitehouse in the early 80s, and she got it banned in the cinema, did she? Or it came out on video and then it got banned on video?
I think.
That's Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert, isn't
Tappert,
it?
yeah.
That are waving.
That's right.
Wasn't it?
Was a weird rule that the film didn't get a BBFC rating, or didn't go, it always passed with an X, or it kind of, when it came to VHS, it kind of skipped that rating board. Then it got banned. I think there were some things where they kind of released things uncut on tape when they were cut for cinema. So people went for the tape instead.
Oh, really?
I think that was.
Why would you do that?
Who knows? But it was, people were complaining that Evil Dead shouldn't have been on the video nasties list because it was artistically very, very interesting, and it showed like skill and talent. It wasn't just this kind of gratuitous kind of violent, gory movie.
Yeah, but it was that as well, wasn't it?
It was a bit, yeah.
I mean, what I find interesting about this is that they've done loads of stuff already. I mean, it's all really like homemade because they didn't have a budget. They had to come up with new ways of doing stuff. But it's not immediately obvious that Ash is your main character.
No.
Because that other guy's driving, so you'd think that he was like the main guy because he's got the keys, but he's not. Is that Sam Raimi's Oldsmobile?
Yeah, that's one that's been used in all his movies, I believe.
That was in The Quick and the Dead as well, the cowboy film. That's
It's hidden, wasn't it, under some sort
they
of.
put like a tarp over it.
That's
something.
right. But this is a great little moment here because they literally pull out all the sound, and it's just like a little bit of the score coming in. There's just no sound effects.
Who does the score? Is it Joseph LaDuca?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So he did all three, did he?
Yeah, he did.
And then Danny Elfman.
Because I thought when I heard some of the music, I thought maybe just license some sort of, existing pieces to sort of save money. But at the end, it's got Joe's name.
Well, of course, what's interesting about the sound design of this movie is that the guy that edited the sound on this was Joel Cohen.
That's right.
Who later became Joel Cohen.
But he was wasn't Sam Raimi kind of living with the Coens, wasn't he? They were sort of sharing a place.
They're all connected. So I think they wrote Hudsucker Proxy together, and then the Coen brothers directed Hudsucker Proxy, and Bruce Campbell's in Hudsucker Proxy, and Sam Raimi's got a cameo in Hudsucker Proxy.
I love that movie. I was so gutted it kind of bombed.
Oh, I loved it. I think it's their best film. I think it's incredible. If you have not seen Hudsucker Proxy, stop this commentary and watch Hudsucker Proxy. And then on the flip side, Sam Raimi made Crime Wave, which was written by the Coen brothers and him, and that's set in
That was before Evil.
Hudsucker.
That was before Evil Dead 2, wasn't it? That was their first sort of bomb.
Oh right, so they made Evil Dead, and then they made Crime Wave, and then they made Evil Dead 2. Yeah, and so
they went to Darkman after that.
1990. Crime Wave. So Crime Wave is set at Hudsucker Prison. And so there's kind of like this shared sort of
universe. It's interesting when you see like the size of the house. I think the sequel it gets bigger on the exterior.
Yeah. This is literally just like a rundown shed. They didn't have any heating or water, and they were freezing cold. They filmed in the winter, so they're just like cold the whole time. It looks genuinely. It
looks lived in. It's like a real set. It's not like something that's been kind of been fabricated. There's I think the budgets kind of estimated budgets they've put out is kind of wildly inconsistent. Where they say it's like cost 250,000 or 350,000, $500,000, and it's shot over a couple of years, wasn't it? It wasn't just. It was like come back, do a bit more.
Well, I know when you watch Army of Darkness, his hair changes so much from shot to shot. Like shot to shot, it's like sometimes he'll have short hair and sometimes he'll have like a mullet. And it'll cut in between because it just took them, a little bit of humour there. Yeah, classic.
His hair changes, doesn't it? Near the end, it's all short. He's got rid of the big fluffy...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I mean, I haven't seen this film in a long time.
Because the actors were contractually obligated to do so many weeks and they went over. They didn't come back because that was under their contract. So that's why they've shifted the story. Once they'd all essentially just been killed off, it was just Ash by himself.
Oh, really? Is that right? Because he was producing on this as well, right? So what happened was they made a short film called Within the Woods, which was basically... I think Bruce Campbell has a moustache in it as well, but it's basically Bruce Campbell as a deadite or a zombie. And he's chasing this woman through the woods, and then they took it around, like door-to-door sales, and they took it to all these dentists in the Michigan area, and they got dentists to invest their money. Yes. Dentists had loads of money back then. And
we still do.
And what they were doing was they were like going, and dentists were like, "Oh, we're not sure. We want to invest in sort of like a horror movie." And Sam Raimi didn't even want to make a horror movie. They wanted to make Three Stooges comedies, but they did like some market research, and they found out that, or they worked out that basically horror movies always make money. You can make them for dirt cheap, and they will make money. And you put them on in the drive-in or everything like that.
Because the drive-ins, you could play these films without them being rated, so you'd have a lot of like kind of very kind of pornographic or sort of very extreme violence, and people go see it at drive-in.
Yeah, and so they basically convinced all of these dentists to invest in a movie with tree rape, and that's what they did. And so, and I think one of the things that they're most proud about is that all of the investors got their money back.
They did, yeah.
None of them watched the film, but they all got their money back.
Well, this made like what I think it was like a couple of million in the US until it got distribution outside of the States.
But she's already got kind of like possessed hand.
Yeah, they've painted on these veins, haven't they, on her right hand? So she's been possessed, but then she's not fully possessed until she gets raped by the tree, I presume. Because there's kind of weird rules about the evil that's kind of surrounding them, because it's already moving around during daytime, so it doesn't need to be nighttime.
Yeah, it's inconsistent, and it's also already released. So I mean. So there's evil.
Maybe they're basically reading out that scripture from the bloke's radio. Now he played the radio, or the recording. Sorry, that I presume makes them stronger. That's it. I don't take away from that.
I don't think they've thought it through to that extent. I think the rules become more and more. Oh, is that going to be blood? I think the rules become more and more apparent as the series goes. Well, they're just feeling their way through the dark, aren't they? Ash becomes an iconic character, but he is not an iconic character in this movie. One would argue.
Well, yeah, it's kind of clear come halfway through shooting that Ash should essentially, or Bruce should become the lead.
Yeah.
And the hero. Because I think some critics said that it was often, casting a male lead in a horror film was often a bit of a disaster.
Well, it wasn't done, really. It
Yes.
was always kind of like the woman that has to survive, which is what they did in the, spoiler alert, remake. Which is great. No complaints.
You didn't like?
Just saying.
You quite like the remake?
I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with a female survivor. I'm just what this was actually, it was bucking the trend and having like a male survivor in it.
Yeah.
If you've not seen Evil Dead before and you're watching it for the first time with the commentary, why? So that's the thing. They tried to make him look like an everyman by putting him in sort of like a denim jacket, like a blue shirt and brown trousers, and then he sort of like complained saying, "We made one decision back in 1980," and then he was like still wearing the same combo in like Ash vs Evil Dead years and years later. It does change slightly. The colour of the shirt changes for you nitpickers out there, but it's basically the same outfit. I think his shoes changed a lot. He's wearing like loafers in this film.
Yeah, they kind of sort of look a bit like Cornish pasties.
I like what he's wearing. I can't remember what his name is. What's his name? What's even the character?
I can't remember. Bollocks. Man with blonde hair.
She is.
One of them was friends with Bruce and Sam. She was in the short, I think. She wasn't. She was like a...
So that's Linda. That's his girlfriend, Linda.
Yeah.
And the one in the black cardigan.
Yeah, she was their friend. She worked with them
But
before.
in the film, she's Bruce's sister.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, because she doesn't have... There's no other partner there, is there? So, and that's why later on when she demands she has to go to leave, he's like, yep, let's go. And then they can't because all the bridge is all fucked.
Is he Bruce's sister or is he the other guy's sister? I mean, we really should know some of their names. But she, she gets recast. And is she even in the second one?
No.
Yeah, she is in the second one. But not that actress.
They change for each one.
Yeah.
They go with the flashbacks.
And in the third one, it's Bridget Fonda.
Yeah, Bridget Fonda, yeah.
Because she was a fan. But
because it's interesting when they go downstairs, you see the Hills Have Eyes poster.
Yeah.
And then, is it Evil Dead 2? They've got Jaws.
In this they've got the Hills Have Eyes poster, and then in Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp is watching Evil Dead.
That's right. Yeah.
And then in Evil Dead 2, they've got a Freddy Krueger glove as part of the set decoration.
That's right.
And then in Jason Goes to Hell, obviously they use like the weird dagger thing from Evil Dead 2 and the Necronomicon as a way of summoning up hell to take look at those shoes. Oof. Oh my god. Moccasins, that's what he's wearing. They turned into boots pretty quickly in the next
well, this was filmed with a sort of the other title, The Book of the Dead. And the behind the scenes stuff,
yeah.
all the clapperboards have got Book of the Dead. Which is, I think it's quite an interesting name. I think maybe in some other countries they changed it.
They changed it from Book of the Dead because the producer said, was it Dino De Laurentiis that did this? Did he do this one?
No, the second one.
He did the second one. So they changed it from Book of the Dead because they said basically no one's going to turn up for a movie to read, and so they were just like, oh, confuse people. This movie. The title of this movie will confuse people into thinking it's an actual book. So they didn't do it. Scotty. Of course, Scotty! Scotty! How could we forget? Classic.
Well, there was, because the UK, obviously it became really popular in the UK under Palace Pictures, because they pick it up for distribution. That's where a lot of the profit came, I think, for Evil Dead. And then because doing the video nasty thing, and I think some of these filmmakers had to go to court to sort of explain why they'd made these movies and why they were so graphically violent. And Sam went over and had they weren't expecting an intelligent man to sort of come up on stage and talk.
It's really weird. It tends to really I mean, so when they banned when Alice Cooper came over to England and they banned Mary Whitehouse banned Alice Cooper, and then overnight it was the #1 selling record, and he sold his tour out, and it was like it only did good for him.
Yeah.
And with the Video Nasties that happened, and then over in America when they had when there was all of the Judas Priest going to court and everything, Dee Snider turned up in court from Twisted Sister, and he basically made a very coherent argument as to why they're all dicks. and it's kind of like, actually does quite well to ban stuff.
Well, she's just a silly old battle axe who hadn't actually, the problem, wasn't it, at the time people complained that these people that were complaining about these movies, or come the 90s with video games, that they never actually played them or actually saw them, was always through someone else's opinion.
There's the poster. Well, she hadn't seen them, and there were other people's opinions. But audiences were a lot less sophisticated back then. But there's stuff like Cannibal Holocaust where, when you watch it, because there's actual animals getting killed on camera, because I think they like hack up a turtle.
Oh.
And stuff like that. So, I mean, it's pretty grim. But
I do like the little sketches in the book because
they're really well done.
There's some really good ones, and at the end it's like got some good colouring in crayons there to sort of sketch them in.
They've really done a great job.
The book's changed a lot, hasn't it? This
book's a lot smaller.
That looks a lot more like skin as well. The cover does. But yeah, book does get a lot smaller.
Oh, there's the dagger
That's a great
appears in Jason Goes to Hell, and obviously that's when the three characters or the three franchises, Evil Dead,
that was sort of post-credit
Friday
sequence,
the
wasn't
13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, they all converge in one glorious. That would
have been amazing.
But that is such a bad film. Oh, there you go. They've really gone to town on that one. Got their little watercolours out.
There's a few optical effects in this movie, just with like the clouds passing the moon.
I just really love it. I mean, it's all kind of like they were like 18, 19 when they started making this film.
Yeah, yeah.
This scene, they're all meant to be stoned, and the first time they filmed it, they didn't know how to act stoned, and so they were just like, well, let's just get stoned and film it. And they wasted a whole night's worth of shooting because they were too stoned to make it. Just switch it off now, innit? Just switch off the tape. Just switch off the... you're all spooked by it. Just what I really like about this film is that because they're all really young and they didn't know really... Not that they didn't know the rules of filmmaking, that's patronising, but they were young and they learned how to make films based on Three Stooges shorts and comedy. And so they put loads... They didn't have a big budget, so they had to have to like put in loads of kind of like homemade effects. And what I really love about films of around this era, like 70s, 80s and early 90s, before CGI became so prominent, is that there's kind of like a real homemade effect where you can kind of just about work out what techniques they're using. Especially in Army of Darkness, where the techniques change like shot for shot, where at one moment it's a puppet and one moment it's stop motion and one moment it's makeup.
Yeah.
But just with all three of these films, what I really love is how they're kind of, like for instance, the shot of the evil going through the woods. They got the camera,
a piece of wood,
and they taped it into the middle of a plank of wood, and then there was a person at each end. They'd press record, and then they'd run through the woods. And that's
it's like they had their own little Steadicam.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
There's a bit when they're going over the lake, and they just taped it to one of their hands, and they just like hovered it above the lake.
That's crazy, isn't it? And I think they could have only done that with a 16mm camera. If you had 35mm, that would have been so heavy. They couldn't have been able to achieve that, I don't think. I mean, the funny thing about this movie over the years, because me and Nick were talking about sort of different versions of the movie that's kind of arrived on DVD and Blu-ray over the years. It's been re-released so many times. I mean, this is shot on 16mm. There's a point where it's not going to look any better, I don't think, really, come the next high definition, say Blu-ray.
I think the Evil Dead fans are some of the most forgiving fans. I don't know how many copies of Evil Dead I bought before I just had to go, I'm not buying any more of this. I've seen the film. I don't need a new Bruce Campbell commentary. I don't need it. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I've got it, all right? Yeah,
I think
also
Army of
because
Darkness had the most, though.
there's not
really.
multiple cuts of Evil Dead, I think.
No, there's a shorter version that was cut for, I think, parts of Europe. I think it's like 70 minutes long. It's very
really?
short. This is like 81 minutes, I think,
What,
or
so it's
85,
like
something
this
like that.
film up until the halfway point, and then it's just like the highlights.
I presume so, yeah. But yeah, there's not. I don't think there's an extended cut. There's at all. Other than this, it's the actual version.
Get some focus. Oh my God! Move the camera if you can't get a clear enough image, guys. Oh, they've all every day's a school day, but they released it like that. Unbelievable. What's creepy Bruce doing? Oh, we all know. It's got that
weird sort of magnifying glass
horrible
necklace.
magnifying glass necklace that every girl's been dreaming of.
God, he's out of a cracker.
She's bought quite a lot of clothes with her, though, hasn't she?
She knows it's fucking cold. That's
she's wearing
why.
something different, and there he is, falling asleep within seconds with the nasty bit of jewellery on his knee. Focus. There we go. No, it's too close. That's the opposite of what I meant, guys. It's too close. It's very rare to see such a close up in movies. They've gone. Sergio.
I think it's just a wildly inconsistent sort of transfer, maybe over the years. But it's 16mm. You know, it's going to be.
He needs a bit of. He needs some waxing done there. He's got a bit of a monobrow, but her eyebrows are great. Oh, he wasn't asleep. Oh, guys, that's a horrible sofa, isn't it? But it's slightly too modern for that cabin. That
yeah, it is. Yeah, because there is this kind of when you see around the house, like it seems like it's been kind of lived in more recently. You know?
Is it everything you wanted? Is it Linda? It's Linda, right?
Yeah,
Sheila's Army of Darkness.
They changed. I think they changed the necklace for the sequel, don't they? I think they obviously thought.
No, I think that it's that. I think it's that in the sequel.
God, this is what Sam Raimi thought was kind of like romantic item to give to a woman.
Well, they need like something with like an Indiana Jones whip thing, don't they, for the end when he's sort of like throwing it to get the book.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
That's
where you go. Whole new remaster now. You've suggested it.
All the
new sound effects.
I mean, did they do the mirror trick in this?
They do, yeah. It's not as good as Evil Dead 2.
One.
But then that was always confused me because when I saw Evil Dead 2, they use similar jump scares or sequences from the first one, so he wouldn't fall for the mirror gag because he's already had it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I always have these moments outside where you've got the sound.
I really like it.
This is the bit.
This is classic Joel Cohen sound design. This is classic. I mean, you can just imagine him. Yeah. When you watch this and then you watch Blood Simple, though, even though Blood Simple is a different genre, it's like a what is it, a film noir. There's so much borrowed from this, and in Raising Arizona. I mean, the Coen brothers and Sam Raimi were like the same filmmaker all the way through the 80s. On things. There we go.
Bit of boob, bit of side boob.
Oh, I missed that. I was looking at the red lighting. She's got a big version of that little necklace there. And she's got her little...
She's kept a sketch, though, with
her. No wonder
you know.
you haven't got a boyfriend. You're insane. You sat in your room with your sketches.
It's horror film traits now, isn't it? They go out to investigate.
But they weren't trying to do anything particularly special. I don't think so. I
think it was tell a simple story that they could, that was easy to sell to the financiers, whatever, and to sort of for advertising purposes. But what comes into play is Sam Raimi's kind of visual style that he plays with.
Yeah, they basically try
fun.
and make everything interesting.
Yeah. With loads of like great camera moves and techniques he uses that he deploys in the second one.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
and it's just a bit more polished.
If you watch the documentary De Palma, like the Brian De Palma,
he goes through all these movies,
and he goes through. Yeah,
that's brilliant. I love that.
That's incredible. And basically, he just talks about the fact that he just tried to make every single scene interesting, every single shot interesting, because it was like dialogue scenes. So how is he going to move the camera? And basically, Sam Raimi hasn't got a budget. They've barely got a set. They haven't got actors. They've got like their mates doing it. And so how do we distract people from the fact that we're working with very little? And they just make everything look interesting. Even if it doesn't look great, I mean, this one, what have they've composited a shot there where they've got
top
the
right,
moon up there. So It's kind of, even
And
if it doesn't
let's
look
get
great.
let's get smoke machines, and you kind of
smoke
create
machines, atmosphere.
which is an easy thing. This is still quite cleverly shot with the whole rape scene, but it's like reverse photography, and also getting her to sort of be wrapped around.
Well, there's
with
just
those
so many
leaves,
different techniques that they use, which is what I just really like about the pre CGI. I mean, post CGI, when you look at something like Titanic, which obviously used a lot of CGI, but they're using miniatures, and they're using sets, and they're using actors and stunt people and CGI, and they're using a combination of everything. So when you watch Titanic, all the effects together are kind of like it tricks your eye into seeing something different every time. When it's just CGI, it's basically you're just so when they did it's CGI. You just watch it and you go, well, they did that with computers. When you watch the Evil Dead remake, they went back to using practical stuff and using CGI to sort of embellish stuff. But because it was loads of different techniques, you're kind of like. So that's all in reverse, isn't it?
Yes.
And it's like it's cut.
Some
so
parts
quickly.
are, some parts are, some aren't. You can kind of tell, can't you?
I think they said basically that had they been older, they would have thought twice about doing this. But I think it's like it's the most iconic scene. It's not meant to be nice, and it's the most iconic scene from
the first movie. The second one does have a similar sequence, but she doesn't get penetrated.
They don't
I
go
suppose
all the way.
No.
I think there was a longer cut, a slightly longer cut where you saw a bit more footage here, but you don't really need to.
No, because it's all kind of heavily implied. But they actually have to show it, though, don't they? That's the thing. That's the moment where she becomes possessed, I suppose. Also, she runs back to the house, then she's kind of looks all okay, and suddenly she just looking out the window, then turns around and she's possessed.
Terrible slippers. Not that she deserves this, but I mean, they're awful slippers. This is a lot more graphic than I remember.
Yes, this is probably the one you're probably thinking of in terms of like slightly a bit more graphic.
But I think but also
there would have, the PAL tape, the UK tape, probably would have had maybe 30 seconds trimmed, maybe.
Sure. I think that I mean, this is horrible. I think that I haven't seen this since I've been sort of like older and more mature. Fucking hell! This is the totally uncut version.
Yeah,
fucking hell!
She's getting off on it.
When did they cut away from this? I don't remember it being like this. I remember her being dragged off. Is that the sequel?
That's the sequel, yeah. And she gets dragged off really quickly.
I think
Baba Joe, isn't it? Baba Joe! And she just gets taken away.
She's the one that... Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, she's the one who swallows the eyeball and stuff. Oh, God, that film was great. I love all this stuff here when you see the trees fall down.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the only parts in the movie, at the series actually, because she falls over and you see her look back, then you can tell something's coming towards her, because in the other ones it's always just implied with the sound that they were being chased.
Yeah.
Because look, you see the trees fall down. Now,
right.
They never did that in 2 and 3.
I mean, this is like a genuine horror film, you know. I mean,
because
it's obviously been diluted over
Three Stooges inspiration. Yeah. The sequels really just played on that, didn't they? 3, I think for a lot of hardcore horror fans, 3 is kind of the one they don't particularly like.
I know, and if I'd have fallen in love with Evil Dead and then watched Evil Dead 2 and then watched Army of Darkness, I probably wouldn't like Army of Darkness as much. But because that was my introduction to, I mean, it's a combination.
It's okay to go from 2 to 3, but if you go from 1 as your first introduction, then it becomes slightly skewed.
But the interesting thing is that the character of Ash that everyone loves is from 3.
Yeah.
So the Ash character really becomes the Ash character that all the fans love, or the Bruce Campbell persona by Army of Darkness, and so he doesn't really. There's glimpses of him throughout 2. But like but he doesn't really. This is the shot where they have it on their hand, taped on their hand when they go across the lake. No, over, yeah. What? Come on, you can do it. Come out. It's Crystal Maze. It's so I can't remember what I was saying, but that's what commentary's all about, isn't it? Starting points and then
this is
getting
where
lost.
As you were saying, I've forgotten now.
The-
No, 'cause I thought the keys were on. I thought the guy put the keys. He took the keys off.
Yeah, but there's evil involved. Don't forget, and they're dead. Hence the title.
This is a typical. There you go, ploy there by the
Brilliant.
typical horror ploy there.
It's great. Good next. I mean, they repeat the shots. What I really like is that they do a shot in this that they slightly improve in the second one, and by the third one, they've really nailed it.
Yes,
I think it's the.
Is it a bit where he's trapped the windmill?
It's a bit with the gravestone where he makes like a cross and.
He puts it down. You got the bottle line
and
in
then
the
the
background.
second one, it's slightly better, and then the third one, you go, they've nailed it.
Yeah.
You can see Sam Raimi kind of like developing as a filmmaker, and you can see Bruce Campbell getting better as an actor. That's what I was saying basically, is that it's weird because the diehard Evil Dead fans, they love Evil Dead, but they also love Bruce Campbell being Bruce Campbell, and he's not. I mean, he's like how old was he? 18,
He must be at
19,
21,
20?
something like that. I think they were in the early 20s. I think maybe Sam was probably a bit younger.
Is Ted Raimi in this at all?
No, he's not. Yeah, no. I think Ivan was involved with some of the writing, possibly. I know Ivan came in because he was a doctor, wasn't he? He was a surgeon, I think.
Oh, was he?
But Ivan, he obviously did script writing as well, so he contributed to Spider-Man 2 and 3, I think.
Right.
Yeah, and some of Darkman.
Darkman's great.
I love Darkman. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that was all. Darkman's all derived from
The Shadow?
Sam wanted to make The Shadow, but he
Yeah.
couldn't. I think now Sam Raimi does own the rights to The Shadow and just sat on it for the last 15 years.
Darkman was a better film than the Shadow film was with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
But there was a whole period where like Sam Raimi was being courted to do Batman, and his pitch was that Bruce Campbell would be Batman.
Yeah. And I think Ivan Reitman's version was going to let you wanted Bill Murray as Batman. That would have been
there was
one.
But I think that would have gone because there wasn't a Tim Burton reinvention by that point.
No.
So I think any Ivan Reitman, Bill Murray thing would have been built on the Batman TV show.
Tonally, yeah. I think Joe Dante was even asked to do it.
Or if not like, we're basing it on the TV show. I don't mean that. What I mean is that it would have
tonally.
It would have been the last example of Batman done live action would have been that, and it would have just spiraled off from there. Whereas when Tim Burton did it at the time, it kind of like reinvented it. But I don't think it's aged very well. But yeah, there's loads of examples of Bruce Campbell nearly getting something. So he nearly got. If Sam Raimi got Batman, then he would have been Batman. He wasn't the leading crime wave because they said he's not bankable. So they got whoever the fuck that other guy is to be the leading crime wave. But the crime wave's got one of my favourite jokes in it, which is the one where they enter the dance contest because they can't afford dinner. So they enter the dance contest, and it's exactly the right amount of money to pay for dinner. And then it starts with them dancing, and then it cuts to her just looking really pissed off while he's dancing and washing the dishes. And it's just like, because they lost. And I just love it. I mean, Bruce Campbell's in that. Ronaldo the heel, that's his character. And then also Bruce Campbell was up for the lead in Darkman.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. When they did the straight-to-video sequels for Darkman...
Why didn't they have Bruce?
Why didn't Bruce Campbell just do the straight-to... They got Arnold Vosloo in it. And you go, well... I mean, you would have connected it directly to the film. If Bruce Campbell had turned up, he puts on the Bruce Campbell mask at the end of Darkman. Spoiler alert. I really love Darkman, though. But it could do with it. All of Sam Raimi's movies could... I just always think, why not just put him in a lot more?
Yeah.
Like... The Spider-Man films, it was incredible that he was in the Spider-Man movies.
Oh, yeah, of course. And he gave him the name Spider-Man, But each cameo he had in that movie got better and better. By the third one, he's just like...
Sure.
The French waiter.
What he was saying, basically, he was the only character to defeat Spider-Man in all three movies.
This is always kind of puzzled me because the bridge is all obviously it's been destroyed, it's been pulled apart. And it's like, because Bruce has wandered, Ash has wandered off here, and she's the only one who discovers the bridge is destroyed. But where did Bruce go? And then come the sequel, he charges down the road and it's already destroyed. Either he didn't know about it being destroyed at this one, or he's just fucked continuity.
You're taking all of this too literally.
I know, I am. Yes,
they're very tenuously linked. They're not remakes, but what they are is, if anything, it's. Well, they didn't have the rights to Evil Dead when they made Evil Dead 2, so they had to sort of recap Evil Dead 2, recap Evil Dead 1 with Evil Dead 2 to sort of explain to first-time viewers
it's a sequel,
what the plot was. So they really simplified the plot in the remake section of the first 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2. They really simplified this plot, and it's just Ash and Linda that are in the thing. So basically, they're not real sequels in that way. I would say
in a traditional sense.
In a traditional sense, and it's almost like they're filmmakers that are.
So experimenting, really. Let's redo this. Let's improve this bit.
They're remaking their technique. If anything, they're going, right, there was that shot in the first one that we can do a lot better now. Like, so in this, they were on location. They were freezing cold in the woods. I think they filmed in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and so they filmed everything on location. It was absolutely miserable experience. It was really cold.
Because the women in this, I think there's a documentary like filmed in the 90s where they couldn't enjoy this movie and the making of it, the process of it, until later on, till they actually got to enjoy like the sort of the success of it and see people react to it, because it was just a miserable experience.
Well, of course it was a miserable experience, and I've made low budget stuff where you've gone out and you just basically assume that no one is ever going to see this. I mean, I made a TV series on BBC Three, and when we were making that, we were just like, it's BBC Three, no one's ever going to see this. So
it's online now. I'm not going to
choose. It's online. We've done a YouTube series. So it's kind of like, so it was just one of those things where when you're out there making it and filming it, you got no idea about the thing. And then obviously later on when it becomes a thing, I think the three of them do tours together, and they're called like the Women of the Evil Dead. But I mean, that's
the same with all filmmakers, though, isn't it? Because they never know. They always say to film, when something's been a huge success, did you at all predict it was going to be popular? And everyone's like, no.
It's an absolute leap of faith every time you do anything. And also it takes exactly the same amount of time and effort to make an absolute piece of shit as it does to make something that's good. It's just, there's just a different, a missing ingredient.
This is the worst bit, the pencil in the ankle.
Oh. As in, I think that's a good effect.
It's a really good effect. See, these are sort of the comedic moments for me, where it's a bit slapstick kind of like
but I don't think they're going for that. That's maybe. No, because that is literally a shelf falling over.
Yeah.
So I don't think they planned that, right?
I don't. You can never tell with Sam. I mean, I think with Bruce, he'll just throw himself all over the set, and it's often just funny seeing that. So that's.
Well, I just think
is the intent to be funny, Bruce and probably not.
No, right? Yeah. No. But I think that it is a horror film, but I think that it's meant to be a fun film as well. They're sort of like throwing everything into it.
Because later on, when the lady's possessed and she's singing this lullaby song, and he's like, shut up! He starts punching her. Like, it's all comical punching.
Yeah.
But then, when you get a bit coming up later on, when she starts singing this lullaby, I thought, did Wes Craven pinch that for Nightmare on Elm Street? That kind of the...
1, 2, Freddy's Country.
Yeah. It seemed quite familiar.
I think they're all
kind of...
They're all sort of like...
taking ideas from each other.
Yeah. Was this... so when they did the sequel, all the interior shots, they went to a school and they built the cabin in a gym.
And which they could rotate, couldn't they?
Oh,
I think, because they rotate for them when he's getting sprayed with blood and stuff. I think.
Oh, right. Brilliant. So is this the start of the cabin in the woods genre, or is there...
I don't know if there's anything else before this that dealt with the same plot that had some people trapped in a cabin in the woods and get attacked or whatever. But then, obviously, Cabin Fever and Cabin in the Woods were both obviously clearly inspired by this in Eli Roth, who's kind of said Cabin Fever was basically just ripped off Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Which I've not seen Cabin Fever. I'm not a fan of Eli Roth.
It's pretty horrible. I like it. There's some good bits in it. I'm not.
See, the word horrible, is it just overly gory then? For the
I
sake
think
of it.
Eli
like
Roth
Hostel.
has kind of like a very sort of mean streak to him, where he makes characters that don't necessarily deserve it suffer. What I like about this is that they're all fairly likeable, and you are on their side. I think
Yeah.
in Evil Dead, I like the characters, and they're fairly thinly painted characters, but they're not complete stereotypes at this stage. And
No, they haven't followed familiar traits of this sort of two-dimensional kind of characters you see written into TV shows or kind of like standard comedies where you've got...
No. And also I feel like we're in the cabin with them, and there's a genuine threat, and it's, whereas I think Eli Roth as a filmmaker is sort of judging his characters, and I don't think he likes his characters. So he's basically, I mean, there's some fucking horrible things that happen. Although, have you seen the Green Inferno?
No, I've not seen that. No.
That film is fucking incredible. It's not, I mean, not necessarily 100% good, but I mean, Eli Roth is an interesting film director.
He did the remake of Death Wish, didn't he? Which was panned. But he's always interesting though, hearing comment on.
Green Inferno is
past.
just an amazing film because it's basically based on the cannibal genre,
right?
And it's. I mean, I did really enjoy it. It's a very enjoyable film. And then he made like Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves, where you feel like there's never in the history of film been an actor more let down by their director than that film. Like Eli Roth absolutely left Keanu Reeves 100% unprotected, and you go, oh. No, don't put that. Don't put that take in. Oh God, poor Keanu, the nicest man on the planet. He doesn't deserve this. Go back and make another John Wick. Yeah, it's like really. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Hostel films, but
I saw one of them and I was like, I think I'm kind of done. I was like, I think it's just there's a certain level of horror I come to expect with films that I want from those, where I kind of like the ones that deal with paranormal and things like that, or things like possession. But when it's just border on to sort of basically torture porn, like the Saw movies and such, it crosses that line where it's no longer just scary; it's just sickening. I don't want to see people getting their skin pulled off, or like I don't know, eyeballs popped or whatever, in a very in a sort of in a close-up kind of way.
Okay, weird.
I don't know.
I don't. I quite like some of. I think the first Saw film is.
The first one was okay. I quite enjoyed the first one.
You didn't know there were going to be another 9.
No, I didn't know
at the time.
Carrie Elwes, isn't it? In the first
Danny
one.
Glover.
Yeah,
I think the first one's really good. And
clever concept that was abused.
Second one's got stuff to it. I think it's weird. They're kind of like they go up and down really.
The third one, when I was a projectionist, because it either had strobe lighting in it or it had scenes in it that were very graphic. We saw these big burly men charging out of the auditorium and puking into bins. I was like,
for Saw 3?
Yeah, they just felt so sick watching it.
That's brilliant.
I know.
I can't remember which Saw films I've seen, is the thing. So, as a completist, I want to watch all of them, but I can't be bothered to sit through ones that I've already seen already. I can't remember. It got that way with the Final Destination films as well, where I just couldn't remember which ones I'd seen, so I just sort of gave up.
I think then they sort of start dropping the numbers, don't they?
And it's called Final Destination. What?
It's like the Fast and the Furious thing. You just say, where?
I don't know what.
Are they sort of embarrassed they made so many? They just drop the numbers.
At least Police Academy got up to 7 before they dropped the numbers. And they just called it Mission to Moscow, but Police Academy 6. I know what order I'm watching them in. Yeah.
It's like Halloween. Halloween's got that problem as well. So
there's 3 films called Halloween.
It's fucking bonkers.
And they all share. There's what? There's the recent. There, he's got short hair.
Yeah, short hair. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No. So she's the one off the poster.
That's right, yeah. I think now at this point, some of the ladies may have left because they just used doubles for these sequences.
Shemps,
that's right, yeah. I think, as you were saying about the sort of sound design, I think the voice as well for these when they're possessed, I think that kind of carries over, doesn't it?
Yeah,
For the
that was
sequels.
just Joel sat underneath the table with a little microphone, just going to town. I don't know. I don't know what.
In a bin doing it.
I think he was the sound editor. He wasn't the editor, was he?
He was. I think he was assistant editor, I believe.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
It wasn't the sound editor.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm talking absolute shit.
People in the comments are already going mad.
When in Rome, it's a commentary. You've got to fill up the time somehow. 44 minutes in and 37 seconds if you want to check your time code. There we go. Picking up the knife.
This is always a weird how he grabs a knife right off her, but he reaches around the back and stabs her.
Yeah.
It's kind of you don't actually see him put it in. You just kind of see this weird kind of mid shot.
They're trying to sort of like
this doesn't work.
They're trying to sort of be arty, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why is he going for her hand?
Yeah,
He's going to cut her hand off before he stabs her.
Yeah, because he gets the hand falls off, and he uses the hand with the knife and stabs her from the back.
This is. What's he going to do? She's going to bite her hand off. This is like Arnold Schwarzenegger doing a commentary now. He's just describing what's on.
Yeah, he's going for the blind.
Picking up the eggs. She's biting her hand.
She just ended up screaming for ages, and my girlfriend was just like, is this going to go on for that long? It's like...
I mean, he can't believe what he's seeing. This is a nightmare weekend.
Bruce Campbell does some like wonderful sort of cuts to reaction shots, which I've clearly just sort of done later on.
Yeah. Really, really good. So take their hand off, though. There you go. Right the way round.
Because I always have the poster, wasn't it? The poster for the UK quad by Graham Humphreys, who did, I think, even a 2 one as well.
Right.
Very distinctive look. That was the look for the UK one with essentially this zombie, whatever, on the front cover. But I think I still love the US poster where the woman's getting pulled into the ground. And
that's an incredible poster.
Yeah.
I've got like a copy of that poster. I've got a.
And I think there's another alternative one where it's this Bruise standing there with the axe, isn't he?
Yeah, but I think
that's just a press shot.
That looks like a press shot that they've tarted up for a DVD release. But I think that.
Oh, bit of milk.
Bit of milk. I mean, it's gross. I love it. But I love it. I love the fact that you can see like where the makeup joins and that it's basically, a kid's makeup kit.
If you saw some VHS though, pan and scan tape, you wouldn't see all those kind of...
when it's all grainy. I mean, I just
shitty,
remember that I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 when it was still banned. And that was off like a pirate VHS copy.
The sequel was banned.
The sequel was banned in,
I didn't realise
the UK.
Blimey. I was pissed off Canon Films.
But then, but the copy that I saw was so grainy and rubbish that you couldn't tell what was going on, and that made it worse. And then when I saw it years later on like DVD,
I didn't know if it was good or
I was
not,
just like, oh, it's not quite as. I mean, I quite like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I think I like it because of its how outlandish and silly it is.
They've literally done like an Evil Dead where they've gone, oh, let's not remake the first one.
And the posters like apes. Breakfast Club.
Yeah, it's Breakfast Club. Yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it? So even like as we were saying earlier about the sort of the hero character, Ash is just he's afraid to do anything. He's all just holding back and just doesn't want to do it until he, I think, kills his sister. I think, and then he.
But to be fair,
then he changes into the sort of the character we kind of come to recognise.
This dude did go a bit overboard, though, didn't he? If you think about what you've just watched there, Oliver. I mean, look at that. That's a bit much.
Yeah, I think he threw a bit of a wobble.
I love that. Look at that. They've gone, let's do all of it. There we go. And what? They're all underneath.
Yeah.
They're all underneath the floorboards with holes in the floorboards with their legs and stuff stuck through. And
I think it was Greg Nicotero said, he loves seeing all the join lines, of the makeup,
It's slightly awkward. Yeah, you should fucking bury her, mate.
Gonna get a bin bag
and a sponge. You're doing it, mate. I'm not.
They can't take us down the laundrette. They'll question all this blood stains on these clothes.
Fucking hell. Oh, no shit. Fucking hell. What was his name again? Scotty,
yeah.
Classic Scotty. Overreacting and then suffering the consequences.
See. I think if this was played for a comedy, it would literally they'd bury it, then it'll cut to them sit down, have a cup of tea.
I mean,
That would be.
I think it's
full
really funny.
That was clearly.
It's a bit
that
like
was a take left in. He just fell over then.
it's a bit like that bit in The Big Lebowski where what's his name? John Goodman's car gets all fucked up. No, the dude's car gets fucked up, and then they cut to them like driving down, and they haven't got like a windshield, nothing like that,
It's all dead
and they're
silent,
all
isn't it?
really pissed off, and it's dead silent. And
They're eating
then
a burger, aren't they?
Steve Buscemi just like brings his burger up into shot. It's like they've stopped off to get burgers. It's amazing.
Also, that line was like, "Well, they did it. They finally killed my car."
Oh, it's a bit of a sausage fest now. Are they all, Linda's still around, is she?
Yeah, she's
Where-
still around.
where's Linda?
She's asleep. One's asleep still. One's just having a fucking nap in the background.
Oh dear. She's going to have a nasty surprise when she wakes up. That her boyfriend is... No. Her boyfriend is... So it's Linda that's asleep. So Ash's girlfriend. Yeah.
So it was, with the sequel, I think, as you were your complaint was that when they introduce the other characters come into it, you think it kind of takes away some of its edge.
I just think that with Evil Dead 2, if it's Bruce Campbell, it's brilliant. And then every time the other characters come into it, it just screeches to a halt, and then it takes a while for it to get back going again. And I think that,
I think that was their only way to sort of expand the story, though, wasn't it? Because at this point, you can tell, because they've done it the other way around, haven't they? They've started out him by himself.
I mean, I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. So I was a teenager when I watched Evil Dead 2, and it's very possible that I was just
want to
not
see him.
I just
Yeah.
want to see Bruce Campbell. He was my first ever Ask Jeeves search.
Really?
I got Bruce Campbell.
I think I used Alta Vista at the time.
The first time I ever used the internet was in 1996, 97, and I used Ask Jeeves, and I looked up his brilliant.
That's good stop motion.
That's
I like
great.
that.
It's really great.
Well, yes.
Of course, she got her ankle done in. They also didn't know what the final makeup was going to be like. So when they introduce the Deadites,
They just
she
had
looks
the eye-
like, she looks like a doll.
That's right.
I mean, why are you doing that? You've just axed a woman to death.
He didn't go for that long, right? And he went to look for another.
He's an idiot.
He went to look
Scotty's an idiot.
He went to look for another trail to get out, but
Linda's makeup here is great.
because they had those,
She looks fabulous.
they had those contact lenses where you couldn't actually see. You're
And they were
practically
really
blind.
thick, and they really hurt to put
Have you
in.
had those put in before?
I've had something similar put in, but these were like early 80s, late 70s. So
Yeah, so
they were
just
like,
a
I
big
think they
lump
were
of
made
plastic.
of actual glass.
Ooh,
Horrible. I hate putting stuff in my eyes. It's disgusting.
yeah. He's got like literally bone coming out of his hand.
Who
Dave.
gives a fuck about you, Scotty? You're going to abandon Ash and Linda. You deserve to die on that horrible fucking sofa, you fucking filthy piece of shit. I fucking hate Scotty. Like and subscribe if you agree. So, don't do that, mate. Slapping him's not going to make him feel any better.
Slap his
is it?
wounds, you know.
Fucking hell.
Does that hurt? It's like prodding him.
Fucking hell, you're going to leave me. You were about to leave him. You were literally just about to leave him. I tell you what I call Scotty. I call him, he's a little bit of a fair weather friend. He's only there if he needs something from you. Oh, God. I don't know if you know, you've got all sorts of crazy putty all over your face. Oh, poor.
So this is. Has she already done the lullaby song yet?
No, I think it kicks in a little bit. Now, do you mean does she sing?
Yeah, she sings. Yeah,
Because there's the bit. Oh God, look at all that blood. That's because she slapped him. Now, this is where the film really.
this is great. This is the sort of the comedy punches come into play. Oosh.
It's almost like watching an early Joey Tribbiani movie.
See, I always thought, like, because in the sequel, doesn't it, he goes to kill his girlfriend and she turns human. That's before he's about to do it. But this one, I always thought, okay, this would have been the moment here.
Well, where
she does in a minute, but I mean, he should have, like, as soon as he pointed the gun, she should have turned human. But
I don't know if you've ever attempted to murder your possessed girlfriend before, but it's not as easy as it appears. From an outsider's point of view,
if you've seen enough movies, you know the rules.
Here she is. See, she's still got the bloody necklace on, hasn't she?
Oh, she has. Yeah,
she loves it. I mean,
I think
it's all got twisted around at the back.
I said it was his sister, it was his girlfriend, wasn't it? Yeah.
This is his girlfriend. This is famously his girlfriend, and it's good. They're getting rid of all the other.
I love the score to this actually as well. I mean, it kind of fits. It throws in a sort of a classical kind of romantic theme to them as well. It works. It's got a little bit of synth in there.
This is one of the oldest tricks in the book. If ever you're unlucky enough to be trapped in the woods with 4 of your possessed friends, don't fall for this sort of bullshit. I mean, come on, Ash. Fucking hell.
He's not the brightest spark, and I think they obviously play on that for the sequels, don't they? Because he's a fucking idiot.
Well, they do play up to it, but I mean, they're not doing that deliberately here. It's difficult to know how clever or how savvy your audience is really.
Yeah, I mean, this is Sam Raimi trying to, throwing another jump scare.
He's basically trying to make a classic horror film, and he has done that largely, but there is a certain amount of it that's slightly amateurish. I mean, it's all.
But yeah. I mean,
compare this to other films that were made
artistically,
in the 80s.
you can say, I mean, it cuts corners, or you can see where things are put together.
Yeah.
But you always got to remind oneself that how young he was. And
it's incredible. I just think it's incredible. One of the best books is the making of the Evil Dead book. Is it the Evil Dead Companion?
Yeah, I've got that. Yeah,
and it's really great. I mean, it takes you through all of the effects that they did and how, and it got diagrams and stuff of how they did it. It takes you like beat for beat how they did I think they do the trilogy in it, but basically there's loads more information on the first film than the next two because that's the one that they learned the most on.
So yeah, it's a lullaby thing. It's always kind of, I thought, this is very Elm Street,
What I like, one of the things that made this film really famous was the Stephen King quote off of that poster.
Yes, that really boosted them sales-wise because it gave them the credibility.
Yeah, Of course, Stephen King will
doing his coke phase as well.
Well, he'll endorse anything now. So it kind of not quite the boon that it once was. Stephen King saying it's the scariest thing he's ever seen. Moments before agreeing to remake The Shining.
Has he still got a bit of wood stuck in him, in his stomach? It's like, yeah, he'll be fine, mate. Totally fine. Just sleep it off.
Stop pouring the water. Look at how much. Oh, he's deluded. They're all dead.
As you were saying earlier about how sort of Bruce Campbell was always kind of shortchanged when it came to being a lead. The studios didn't have faith in him. Do you think because of how he's portrayed in Sam's movies that studios had this misconception that he couldn't do a serious dramatic role?
No.
Or do you think his acting talent, it just wasn't tailored for that sort of stuff? He was a funny guy,
I think he's really funny, and I also think that people have ripped him off in the past. I think like when you look at stuff like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, I think there's stuff, with the hand that he did from Evil Dead. I think that people have seen, the industry have seen Evil Dead 2. When Robert Rodriguez was going over to Hollywood, they said, what do you want? We'll send you any scripts that you want so you can read, after he did El Mariachi. And one of the scripts that he wanted was Evil Dead 2. Because he wanted to learn how to make how to write an action film.
Yeah.
And then there's always been that promise that Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez have always gone on about how much they love Bruce Campbell, and you go, well, put him in one of your fucking films.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money. Is it Scott Spiegel directed that?
Yeah.
And
it's all right. I mean, it's fine, but it's direct. It's like Darkman sequels. It doesn't really live up to.
The film is better than it has a real right to be, considering the budget and that it was straight to video and all of that stuff. But the fact that Bruce Campbell plays is like the cold opening in a film within a film, kind of. That's not why people wanted to see. That's not what people wanted to see from Bruce Campbell teaming up with legendary producers Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. Yeah. And it's kind of like...
I think if you're fans, use them.
Yeah, just put them in.
Or it's just lies.
I found it really frustrating, especially as a Bruce Campbell fan growing up in the 90s, where basically,
you had TV shows and Hercules he'd pop up in.
He'd pop in up in that, but then you'd have to sit through Congo, It's
the best thing about Congo. He gets killed.
Well, he's in Congo, and then he sort of gets killed off camera, but you don't realise he's dead, so you've got to sit through the rest of the film for a bad mannequin to turn up at the end where he's... I mean, what a lot of you don't realise is growing up in the 90s, being a Bruce Campbell fan, you'd take what you could get, really. And Congo was one of those things. I mean, on the UK TV trailer for Congo, Bruce Campbell would appear for a split second of him screaming at the camera. Before he got murdered by a giant ape who was harvesting diamonds. And fucking hell. And so I took my whole family to fucking... Here he is. I took my whole family to see Congo. Fucking hell. I didn't pay, obviously. Dad paid.
Persuaded and dragged them.
But then we had to, then it was Escape from LA. Fucking John Carpenter's made a sequel to Escape from New York. I'll be there. And you're there and go, this is the worst film I've ever seen.
It ends up looking like Jimmy Carr. All the makeup on.
It's very difficult to fucking... Well, I mean, it's difficult to really tell it's him at first.
Yeah.
Apparently... Oh, I don't know. I just saw her up, mate.
And did you enjoy Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series?
Oh...
Well, I bought the box set recently. I watched the first season when it was shown on TV. I loved it, but I just kind of, at the time when it came to season 2, I jumped onto House of Cards or The Man in the High Castle, and I just forgot about Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I tell you what, I went to Los Angeles to the premiere of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I went to...
Is it one of those sort of Comic-Con things?
No, it's at Graham's Chinese Theatre on Hollywood Boulevard. They closed off the entire Hollywood Boulevard.
What?
They had a...
What, for the first episode they just showed?
They showed, because it's an hour. They showed it at the cinema. It was Lucy Lawless and Bruce Campbell were there. I'll tell you what, my mate... I've got a band. Well, I write music and I'm sometimes in a band. And my bass player is Iggy Pop's bass player. And they were opening... Iggy Pop was opening the whole evening by doing a concert on Hollywood Boulevard, and and I phoned up my mate and I was just like, "Are you opening for the Ash vs Evil Dead thing?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I suppose I better go then." So I went and I got a ticket.
Is that where you got Bruce to sign your DVD?
No, it was
years before.
That was later. But so this was just this thing. So I went. Bruce Campbell introduced Iggy Pop. Then my mate comes out on stage and starts playing for Then we go in and watch the film.
That's pretty amazing.
The first hour, the first episode is brilliant. That's Sam Raimi as well that directed that. That's a great shot there, right up her nose. So and then everyone, because. It was a bunch of comedy producers and stuff that were there. And they said, "Oh, you'll probably meet Bruce Campbell." And I was just like, "I don't want to meet Bruce Campbell." It's absolutely.
Were you crumble? Were you in front of him, or just?
I just didn't want to meet him.
I've in the mood.
I've met Alice Cooper a few times, and it's just kind of like there's nothing that you get from meeting Alice Cooper that adds to the experience of seeing him on stage.
Mm.
And I just was like, I'm just really happy, never meet your heroes and all that. And generally it's because it's not that they'll be a dick, but it's that you'll be a dick. And then it taints sort of like their body of work. But like, so they kept saying, you'll probably meet him. And then I did. And it went slightly weird. And then I wasn't able to ever watch Ash versus Evil Dead the series. So I watched. I think I watched the first series, but I haven't seen the second series or the third series.
Right. Okay.
I've got them on DVD and or Blu-ray.
They really amped up the gore in those films, those TV shows. Sorry, and the comedy's great.
I think what they did. I think what is great about
it really tailored for both.
Yeah,
sides of the coin.
It takes the character from Army of Darkness and then it reintroduces it to sort of like the horror elements of. It's more like Evil Dead 2, the series.
Yes. Because I don't think the series at all tackle Army of Darkness as it's like in the series. I mean, the hand thing. We hasn't got a robot hand and stuff.
They didn't have the rights to Army of Darkness for the first series.
It's Universal, isn't it?
But I think that they got the rights to it in the second series, and so there are references to Army of Darkness in the second series.
Okay, that's why I haven't seen it.
But I haven't. I mean,
that was a good shot though. Sorry, when she scratched his legs.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get her. Oh no. There's milk everywhere. No, it's right in the face. Oh, incredible. You saw it here first.
Big plastic log. Take that.
It's broken off there. I mean, God, it's a train sleeper, and he's absolutely. He doesn't know his own strength there. Oh, he's got it back.
This is a great shot. It just takes her head off, isn't it? That was right near the beginning.
There we go. I love it.
There was that kind of quick insert shot where they're about to hit that lorry and the woman just goes, she's screaming.
That's amazing, isn't it? Oh, no, she's trying to have sex with him and she's... there's blood all over the place.
Poor Bruce.
It's brilliant.
Well, that's what director Eli Roth said. When he works with people that complain about all the blood and gore and the torture, and they go, look, just watch Evil Dead. Sam put Bruce through so much torture.
Well, he's like beating him up off camera, isn't he, and stuff.
Do it again.
I love it. But everything's filmed out of sequence. So
the continuity was out the window. They
like,
said it was like no one was keeping check continuity. I don't think that at the time. Well, the cinematographer or the director of lighting wasn't really. They didn't know who was going to take that job, and someone said, "I'll just do it," and to keep a consistent look.
Yeah.
That's where you get a lot of shots. I think depending on when they started shooting, are wildly inconsistent with what they shot later.
Yeah.
Like this bit here, it's all just like it all seems a bit very, very grainy. Like they've I don't know, the aperture.
Well, I mean, part of the problem with the rating system was that the blood in this was red. So when they came to the second one, the blood was black and the blood was green.
That's right, yeah.
And that way they could kind of get away with more.
I always love that story. I think
it's crazy when you're actually like when there's a geyser of blood getting shot at you.
Yeah,
it ceases to be reality.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what are they saying? Oh, you've got to be 18 to watch that. You go, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because like Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, when that whole load of blood comes out from the floor, it's just no one has that amount of blood inside them.
I still think that's really great. I think
that's great. I mean, it's for it to be seen as anything other than just comical blood.
But like exactly, but like I remember, I never had a problem with like we were talking earlier about the. I think you could see black curtains there that were on the outside of the thing. You talk about the, the evil entity that's like, this is a rubber glove filled with sausages and blood bags. So the evil entity, you never know what the evil entity is. And I used to watch sort of this film with friends, and they'd go like, "Oh, but what is it?" And you go, "I'm not even questioning that." And with the geyser of blood, they were just like, "What is that thing down there? That's just a witch in the thing." And you go, "Well, I think it's different for whoever." It's a different thing for whoever. There's no consistency to what the evil is. And when they did the Evil Dead remake, I thought what was a bit disappointing was that you would see...
They set rules to it.
Well, you would see... They showed you the thing in the woods. It was like this girl that was following them around.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I don't understand why you've done that. I mean, because it was all kind of there for your imagination. The remake is an odd thing, because it's a remake and it's kind of like...
The best bit is when the guy slips over and hits his back on the toilet. That's really painful.
It looks really painful. I mean, the whole...
Because when you watch it, you go, oh, fuck, that must have hurt.
Yeah, right. Have you ever seen a film called Dead and Breakfast?
No.
That's like a musical film. Oh, God, I saw it ages ago at a horror festival in Edinburgh. And that's got this amazing... sequence with a guy that's got like, it's basically, people love this film, and I mean that's just cool. Two different shots of some plugs bleeding.
Yeah, the bloods and all that's coming out in full force, and it has all kind of the music at the end. Later on, because I saw Wallace and Gromit first, but then I saw this Wallace and Gromit kind of music, right.
Right, yeah.
I thought it would fit,
It makes me think of like The Shining, where it's...
Oh, yes, when he hears that the sort of classical music comes into play, yeah.
But it's really creepy, It's kind of like, who owned the cabin?
But do you think with, when you're asking those questions... Who owns this? What are the rules here? The more you know, the less it becomes interesting.
It's like Alien.
It takes away the mystery, doesn't it?
When in the first Alien film, and you see the space jockey, and you go, "Wow, the universe is infinite, and there are these things that have dealt with these aliens that we don't know anything about them, and it creates so many questions and so much mystery around it. You
create your own backstory in your head.
This universe that you've created, absolutely huge. Just by doing this one thing, you've made this. You've done all this world building in a way,
Yeah, without doing it very little.
Without doing very little.
Yeah.
But and then when you do Prometheus, what you do is you go, oh right, well they're space jockeys. The space jockeys are a biomechanical suit, and it's basically God, and God has created the alien as a biochemical weapon to wipe out humans. And so you've basically taken this huge universe and you've condensed it down to being that the aliens are a weapon that were created by another alien to kill humans. So you've shrunk the world all of a sudden into, there's three kind of protagonists now, or three antagonists. Whereas before it was this infinite thing where, we don't even know what they are. And I think you don't need any answers to this. It just...
Bit of a Big Ben chime there.
It just, fucking hell, deafening.
You can tell this stuff now is like the later part of their shoot,
right,
where he's getting Dutch angles all over the place.
Yeah, right.
You had, I think when you went downstairs, you had the vom as the sort of the beams of the...
Yeah, and they're really having fun with it now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
There's loads of experimental stuff, but I get the feeling that...
This is just a great shot when it goes from behind.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about Bruce. They're just like, you can stand there and you can like it, and I will make you a star, right? But that's how they're basically cheating him. It's like, there's no other actors that are moaning now. We went to school together, and you will do what I tell you.
You're going to be my bitch,
and you will enjoy it
for months.
It's it's just basically them.
Because also earlier on, when he was trying to shut the doors from each end, it was very much camera sped up. Kind of just following him through. That was just like now. This is what you see. Look at that shot. That's
brilliant.
That's the iconic shot. I think
it's meant to get crazier and crazier, but it does also coincide with the other actors going home.
Yeah, you can deal with the cold, can't you, Bruce? You'll be fine.
But Bruce does like some of the best acting.
It's like the style is completely it's gone up a level now.
I think he was probably a bit shy about bringing out the good stuff in front of the others. Right, this shot is just really clever. I love it. I mean, what the hell is that? So he shot the glass and the glass is still there, but they shot the wood out. It's crazy.
That shotgun would have taken that out completely.
I mean, that's crazy. That's such a really good shot with the mirror, and then they get it. They do it. It's a different gag in the sequel.
Yeah, because he comes out, doesn't he?
But they do it slightly better.
Yeah.
And then by the third one, I mean, in the third one, when he sees the mirror and in the windmill and he runs over and he smashes it, I thought that he saw the mirror and he thought that there was another human being in
No,
in the windmill with
I
him.
was perceived as he saw. Okay, this is gonna get me again, like the demon. Then,
why does he run so hard into the mirror in the third one? Like,
because he looks at it and his head turns without him actually moving. So,
right, so he runs over and smashes it. Right,
yeah, and then he creates multiple versions of it.
There he is. He's just really enjoying.
They've kept continuity with the bruise on the left of his cheek.
Well, they knew he was doing. They knew he was doing that. Yeah. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. It'll only bring back. Oh, memories.
Oh, the magnifying glass.
You beheaded her. Oh dear.
Just give like a monocle.
She deserved
or something.
better. Ironically, you got her a necklace, and then later on you cut her head off. So it would have just kept slipping off anyway. Yes, I knew it. Brilliant. I just really do enjoy it. But it is like a totally different film from the...
Yeah. This is where essentially I think they've got a little bit more money now to sort of finish it off, because now it becomes a little bit more inventive, and they've...
I mean, that's a good
shot.
It's a really good...
That's really good. But it's when they use the stop motion stuff and they break down.
Right, yeah.
It's also a little bit like when one of them obviously falls apart and you see all his hands come out of the bodies. Like,
right,
it felt like something out of The Thing, which was obviously a year later, so they obviously weren't aware of that. But.
Well, so when did they make this? They made it in 1979?
9, yes.
And then
it didn't come out to 81.
They kept making it. Did they finish it off in 80 and then...
I think, because it sat on, I think it was like 18 months or maybe less. It kind of sat, just basically finished till it got distribution, 81, but it didn't really find its audience till 83.
Oh, that's a great shot.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Who hasn't dreamt of doing something like that to someone they've been a bit knocked with? Yeah, there's the piece of wood. It's really great. Yes. Really, just enjoyable family entertainment. I mean, who could take this too seriously? I mean, I could. I found it horrifying. That's the Book of the Dead burning. Yeah, I think.
Okay, do you think this movie inspired quite a lot of younger filmmakers to sort of do the same and sort of say, hey, we could do this?
I
now.
think that this is exactly the film that can get you into filmmaking. You just look at it and it's a great film, really enjoyable. You can make a film like this and go on to have Sam Raimi's career. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of
Edgar Wright's borrowed a lot, I think, from Sam Raimi. He's just, it's...
I wouldn't even say borrowed. I would, but I really, that's really good the way that. But they do that even better in the second one.
And it pulls him forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's a skull. You see, the necklace has fallen in the shape of a skull.
That's right. Because I didn't notice that yet yesterday. My girlfriend said that's a skull.
Yeah,
I was like.
Just the attention to detail. But I think, I mean, it's disgusting. It looks like they've wrapped it in pork scratching. It's fucking disgusting.
It's an edible book.
It's absolutely grim. And he's got a grey wig on now.
He got scared shitless, that's why.
I think what's interesting is that I'm talking, but I can't remember where I'm going with it. So I'm just.
I talk about people being inspired by.
Oh yeah, I
Evil
think that this is like whether you want to make a horror film or a comedy or drama or anything. You watch this film, and it basically you go, well, they did it, so.
Yeah.
It
Why
should
can't
be,
we do it?
Yeah, it should be
For the same amount of money.
Do you know what I mean? It feels like complete. It's not an intimidating film. It's just there's so many ideas and skill in there. But like I say, all of that is there in a way to sort of distract you from looking at the limitations of the film. And you go, yeah, okay. None of the special effects particularly individually hold up by today's standards or even by standards back then. I mean, that's clearly like plasticine effects and stuff. But because they've combined so many different ideas and so many different techniques, you
accept it.
You accept it.
Yeah.
There's like two different things happening there. There's
The
stop
wobbles
motion
and the optical thing. What I think is very clever in a minute with the stop motion is when it falls down and the background plate shows you that.
Right.
Yeah, it's really quite clever.
But I just think that this film, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, I mean, it gives you a lot of hope. And it also, the story behind the making of this film, it basically says that, a group of friends can go out in the woods with some cameras and they can make, one of the most iconic horror movies of all time. I mean, that is the bit that, fucking hell. I can handle blood.
But not a bit of porridge.
I can't handle anything. I mean, at the end of Brain Dead with, when they're eating the porridge, or they're eating
the brains, aren't they?
Is it rice pudding or semolina? And then his ear falls off.
Oh yeah,
and then he eats it, but he's got a hole in his throat, and then the ear comes back out. I mean, it's just absolutely fucking disgusting.
The hands and stuff that come out. Looks like something out of the Thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's great. Oh, my knees. That bit there, the background plate.
Right.
So you see it kind of falling.
I see. Yes, one more.
It's like the end of a gremlin.
And then we'll just put some snakes and cockroaches in it for good measure. I mean...
You must have been on a heavy diet of cockroaches and stuff.
I mean, it's disgusting. But I love it as well. Do you remember there was a cartoon series called Trapdoor?
Yeah, I was thinking that. The sort of the same plasterine colouring there.
Yeah. Oh no, I've done it again. That's what he's thinking. Got to make new friends. I don't understand why people have the issue between this film and the sequel. Going, why did he go to the same? People think that he's an idiot because they think that he went to the same cabin in the woods and recited the Book of the Dead again. And you go, no, he's not the idiot. You're the idiot. Because it's a recap, isn't it? I mean,
but they cut out the other characters, don't they? That's what creates that confusion.
Yeah, but there isn't really a confusion.
No, of course not. I'm just saying.
But do you know what I mean? It's just like I do find it kind of like baffling. But this is great. This is like a trick ending where
you think he's fine. It's daytime because he said, "Oh, it'll be fine come morning." He said an hour. I mean, it's that's a lot of shit happening really within an hour.
Look at how neat those hands were when they came through.
Yeah, they did.
But to be fair, they did try. Do you know what I mean? With continuity, they tried to put they just obviously didn't.
Look at the rushes. I mean, half the time. Sam Raimi's boots like, yeah, it's fine. Do it again.
But I really look at how much blood's over him. They must have kind of like. I mean, obviously, films are filmed out of sequence, but they honestly didn't know how much blood was going to be on him from scene to scene. So they had to guess at stuff, and sometimes they guessed wrong and they didn't put enough on. But I think that they've put just the right amount on him.
This is a great shot because you can tell something's going to get him because it's just focusing on a leaf, and then it just pans up and goes.
So they got on a motorbike for this. They got on a motorbike for this last shot, and then they drove into him, and I think it actually cut his face. So yeah. I mean, it's,
Here we go. Someone already opens the door for them. Here we go, yeah.
and then that's where Evil Dead 2. That's the point.
Yeah.
Where you go, right, okay, Evil Dead 2, when he is on that crucifix thing and he's being spun around, that's where the films meet.
Have you seen like a supercut before where some people splice them together?
Do they Ellen Sandweiss, I've been trying to remember her name all the way through it. Yes, right. Yeah. No, I was. If you'd have told me who are these three actors, I would have been able to tell you. But it is Joe LaDuca. Joe back then, Joseph to his fans, I guess.
It says in a minute about one of the Coens.
Is there Josh Becker? Have you ever seen Intruder?
No, I've not seen that film.
That's a slasher film set in a supermarket. I think.
Minus zombies.
No zombies, but Bruce Campbell's in it. What's his face? Sorry. Sam Raimi's got quite a big part in it. Ted Raimi's in it.
Oh, there you go. Ted is in it. Oh, bollocks.
Ted, Ivan.
I thought it was come to sequel they'd have.
Scott Spiegel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The film itself,
design August.
The
films,
film,
of course.
obviously doesn't stand up over time in terms of its, visual effects and sort of the.
I think everything about it is perfect. I think that it's a time capsule. And
yes,
you couldn't make it now, as they proved.
No, and in terms of making comparisons to the other ones, I think it's still, as a horror film, it still works. I think
that's great. I mean, I know we talked all the way through it, but I really enjoyed that.
Oh, good.
Like, I think maybe
it's been a while since you've seen it.
It's been quite a while. I mean, it's not my go-to out of the films.
No, it usually was number 2, isn't it, for most people?
It'd be 2, or that's the one that you can get your girlfriend to watch. Not yours. I mean.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Me and Nick will be back with a commentary to Predator in the coming weeks. You can find Nick on social media and his radio show, Fubar Radio, which I was on a couple of weeks ago. I'll put links below where you can listen to his regular podcast. You got new episodes every week? You got a bit of a break, have you?
No, do one a week.
One a week. There you go. Well, everyone, take care and goodbye.